at what we're working with tonight. All right, look at what else we have. We have one of our moss pumpkins. We've got our scarecrow. We've got some poly jute mesh. And of course, we have fall greenery. So I'm super excited. So this little guy is Hobby Lobby. He actually had a few different styles. So he is available this year. He was regularly $9.99. Love him, and I chose him because he does have the denim in him. Denim can actually be a great color for the fall look, right? So we're going to be using him. We're going to be using some of our 10-inch poly jute mesh. Hey, Miss Suzette. Actually 10.5. We're going to be using some styrofoam. We've got our moss pumpkin, and I may have other pumpkins. We're actually going to be using our pine cones. And so I have some pine cones over here off to the side. Pine cones. We have fall floral, and I have some raffia down here. And of course, ribbon. Not every centerpiece or design has to have ribbon though, right? So, oh, and then of course, we're going to be using our greenery base. So our evergreen centerpiece base. These can be so versatile. So versatile. It doesn't matter what season it is. I'm telling you, Easter, spring, summer, fall, winter, it doesn't matter what season it is, because pine trees live all year round. So you can use these evergreen bases all year round, and depending on what you add to them is going to depend on how it looks when you get done. All right. So what we're going to do, and I'm trying to make sure I'm in your camera view, is when you first get this, it's all laid out flat. So I've already, I've already fluffed it up. However, we're going to take a piece of this hard styrofoam, and I've kind of pre-cut a slice off of a bigger piece, but we still don't need this much. And I left it like this on purpose because I wanted to share with y'all, it doesn't have to be perfect. Crafters can be OCD. You don't have to be OCD about this. So I only need a piece about this long, about 5 inches long. So I'm going to cut off a piece. It's not exactly square. I'm okay with that. I'm absolutely okay with that because no one's going to see it anyway. No one is going to see it. So we're going to take that. We're going to smush this down, and we're going to set that in the center. One key piece when you're working with styrofoam that we have not talked about in quite a while as a matter of fact, is that when you add wire to attach this to your frame, the wire can actually slice through the styrofoam, and that's not cool. So a little trick to keep it from going through, hang on a second, I need some airflow in here. To keep it from going through is you can take just a leftover piece of wire off of, you know, your floral cuts, etc. And so when we add this, actually, let me turn that. I was having a hot flash, y'all. I'm going to wrap that around there. And it keeps it from pulling all the way through. So we're going to do a piece here Do another piece on the other side, as a lot of people. All right. So rather than this accidentally getting pulled all the way through, that wire will keep it from getting sucked all the way through. Let me turn this over, and we're going to bring the wires around here between our ties and give that some good twists. Now, of course, as always, you want to make sure that you don't have any sharp edges jabbing at your customer. So I just take them and do a U shape and poke them right back inside of that styrofoam or inside of my design so that they're not sticking out. So there's one wire. And we're going to secure this in 2 different places. You never want to pull it so tight that it just slices right through that, right? All right, so now we're going to take our poly jute mesh and we're going to cut. I cut 8 already just to save a little time for y'all, but we're going to cut, I'm going to have a total of 10, and whether or not I use all 10, I'm not sure yet. So I'm going to cut 15-inch cuts. So 15-inch strips here. And we're going to curl that up. When you do, you don't want your curl a tight curl. So you want to be able to have that looseness to it. And now we're going to add that in here using the twist ties on the evergreen base. So I cut 10. I'm not sure if we'll need all 10. First, we're going to go to the outer perimeter here. And just using the built-in twist ties that are on the evergreen base, we're going to add that just like we would a tinsel tie on a wreath frame. Also trying to pay attention that your cut side is not on top. So bigger than a quarter, my hole, my opening. All right, my last 2 ruffles, we're going to do something a little bit different with. As soon as I get them to curl here, roll them up. So this one, I'm going to add a pipe cleaner to because, and I want to make sure my cut edge is on the bottom side, because we're going to be putting them in the styrofoam. So I'm going to put a steel pick on them, and we're going to put them in around our design after we get the other things attached. So now we're going to do is take these. I didn't need quite that long of a pipe cleaner. And we're going to add some steel picks to them. So we'll be using those in the near future in our styrofoam. I'm also going to do the same thing with some raffia. So I'm going to add some steel picks to raffia as well. So, pine cones. Pine cones don't naturally obviously come with a pick on them or, you know, something so that you can attach it to other things. So the workaround is I take my heavy gauge wire. This is a 22 gauge wire. I'm gonna cut a little bit longer piece here. And we're going to take that and wrap it around the very last open part of the cone. So see where it's spread open right here? I'm going to take that and wrap it all the way around. Give that a couple of twists. And now I have my wire sticking out here, or if I want to add a pick to it, which I'm not sure how long I want this to be. Hang on. Let me shorten that up just a smidge. And now I can insert that down into our foam. It may not need to be quite that long. I'm going to use some of these medium. This one's a little big. I might have to grab my other bag. I've got some smaller pine cones here. All right, so once again, I just kind of find that towards the bottom where those petals are open, work my wire in there close to the core of my pine cone. Give it a little twist. And now I have a wired pine cone. This works well if you want to attach them to wreaths. So I'm always concerned when I glue things into wreaths. This is like your method of making sure now you could tie it to a wreath frame, right? Now that you've attached a wire to it. So it's my method of making sure that pine cone isn't going to go anywhere in a year or two on my customer's design. If I'm to. Okay, so let's take our price tag off of our Hobby Lobby Scarecrow. So if you can, daggone it, move my basket. So if you can kind of envision, here is our base. We are actually going to set Mr. Scarecrow off to the side, and our huge pumpkin is also going to go in here, and I have to turn him around here. Well, it helps if I face him the right direction, right? So our Scarecrow, oh yeah, Because of the height and the size of the different dimensions, I actually want the scarecrow sitting higher than the pumpkin. So we're going to put the pumpkin a little bit further off to the side, kind of cattywampus here. He's going to be here, and then we're going to fill in all the way around him. All right, so he's got the lead breeches again, kind of like the witch that we did the other night on one of my lives. So I cut a couple of different spots in his fabric. So I've got a hole here and a hole here. And I was trying to see if I had any long pieces from our leftover stem cuts, but it does not appear that I do. So we will use our regular wire. Yeah, that scarecrow is adorable. And if you missed the very, very beginning, they do have a couple of other styles of our scarecrow in stock this season. So I'm going to pierce his tush with our wire. I don't know what they're using underneath there these days, but man, it was hard to pierce the other day. Both of them came from Hobby Lobby. So I'm going to take a wooden floral pick and try and puncture a little hole in there in his breeches, deep down into that next layer. So this flannel is right behind it. I need to get through it as well. And I try not to puncture the bag that the weight, whatever it is that they have inside of him. So I'm wrapping this wire around the tip so it'll help me guide it through, because I'm just going to push it through. I'm telling you, it's like surgery. Okay. There we go. And there's the other hole. See where I'm coming through? There's another layer underneath there that has his flannel shirt. There we go. Just like that. Now, to attach him, I'm going to set him off to the side. I don't want him straight on, and I'm going to wrap this around our foam block and come out around the back of it, or underneath side of it. And because I want to get it pretty secure, I'm going to take a piece of wire, set that underneath there, and that way when I pull, I won't be slicing through all of my styrofoam. It'll stop. Because this one I want a little bit snug. No wiggle. No wiggle in its bottom. Take those wires, bend them back towards the styrofoam. And if you can get them in the styrofoam, that's actually bonus points. All right. So he's sitting up there. And again, I want him kind of cattywampus. I don't want him straight on. So if this is the front of our centerpiece, he's sitting a little off to the side, a little offset. So our pumpkin is going to go below him. Below him. So in order to attach our pumpkin, we're going to use, y'all, I still have not gotten one, but if you have an ice pick, I know they, believe it or not, they still make ice picks, but it's much thinner than these skewers. An ice pick is perfect for these kind of things. So I'm going to puncture a couple of holes in here. And take our piece of wire that we've saved from previous cuts. So I poke that first because it really does help to have that, what I call a pilot hole. It's so much easier to get these in the styrofoam once you have that pilot hole. It's, and believe it or not, it's been in my cart or like in my saved list on Amazon for probably 2 years. No kidding. So now, as soon as this sets up, we now have a secure wires, and they, of course, we'll be cutting those down to attach that to our styrofoam. We'll see if that's going to be low enough. While we're waiting for those to set up, we'll go ahead and fray some of our raffia here. And I intentionally did like different sizes of raffia because some of them can nestle down inside. Some of them can stick out more whimsical out the top side. So there's a variety of lengths, and that's okay because Mother Nature is not perfect, right? You'll hear that a lot. Mother Nature is not perfect. So when we try to make a perfect design using things that are found in Mother Nature, it turns out unnatural. All right, so now I can take this and insert it into our styrofoam. Now I will be gluing this in. But I'm going to glue it afterwards because I've gotten burnt so many times trying to hold the glue on the edge of that it's just safer to glue it after you've already inserted it. Look at that. Our pumpkin is attached. So if y'all remember, one of my key things when I design a centerpiece is I like it to look good from every angle. So we've got a focal point facing you. If you turn it around here, we've got a focal point here, but you also see the scarecrow from back here. So having those different levels in there makes a huge difference. So let's add some some fall foliage here. And yeah, perfect. So this is a bush from Walmart this year. It is called a cattail bush. So I'm going to dissect him. And it naturally came with pine cones, but the pine cones are taller. So that's why I wanted the shorter pine cones, because we're going to have different height here. And chances are very good that I'm going to use this entire bush, so I'm going to go ahead and dissect it all. And if you pay attention, when you're cutting these, it's already arranged for you. So your cattail, there's your tallest point. So we're going to take that and attach it to the tallest point of our centerpiece. So we're going to go wherever, and it doesn't have to be dead center, y'all. It doesn't. So in this case, I'm actually going to use it part of mechanics to help support my scarecrow. One thing though, and I know my camera's a little high, so I apologize for that. You want to have a pyramid kind of flow going on. So starting at the top with your tallest, and then you're going to work down from there. So the next one should be a little bit lower than the first one, and so forth. So it's a pyramid effect. So our cattail actually is taller, just a smidgen taller than our scarecrow's raffia. Just a smidge. So I'm going to add these. So the rest of our extras, is what I'm going to call them, are actually going to be strategically placed just for the mechanics. So if we need to get him to lean one way or the other, or he's starting to falter, we can use all of these tools to our advantage as part of the mechanics, so that he doesn't fall over. So like this one, I'm putting directly next to his britches, almost where I cut that hole in his britches. So you would know, right, that I'm putting that there to help brace him in a nice position. But look, we still have pine cones that we can use, and that will help. And I can actually dig into his britches with the steel pick and mount him to the styrofoam if I need to. And so that's going to be my next main focus, is his stability. Is he where I want him to be? The same way with the steel picks with the raffia, we can use that to help mount him and keep him in place. I just stuck my hand in glue from the last floral stem. Thank goodness it had cooled off a little bit. I will warn you, trust me from experience, see how he's straddled right here? Y'all, try to avoid putting a pine cone right there, or the raffia. You have to really, and I know I'm laughing because trust me, I have done it. I've done it. So be mindful of what sets in that area is kind of what I'm saying, because you know how people are, right? Yeah, I know you get it. All right, so let's see. Well, first of all, he is actually sitting pretty darn good, but I think I am going to take one of the raffia and give it a little bit of glue. I think we're done with the pick machine, so let me set it off to the side so I can not have glue all over it. And what did I do with that one? It's right here. so let me add some glue here. By the time we get done with this guy, God bless America. Okay, that is not a good spot for that. Let me scoot that back just a wee bit. I was trying to avoid glue strings by bringing it a little closer, and that's been an epic fail all the way around here. So I'm going to take this, puncture his britches with my steel pick, and put that raffia right in there. My goal is that I should be able to turn this sucker upside down and he is not going anywhere, right? If you work with florals, you're gonna get burnt. That's for sure. Oh my gosh, he's so adorable. All right, now clearly we've got a lot of green showing here. So I am going to try and get some color going on without it looking too tacky. Where is the other side of that one? Right there. You know what? I think what we will do is use some fall leaves for that, because it's kind of hard to not distinguish that that's a leaf, right? And I'm not kidding. I have people that would just tear me apart if I put something like that in the middle. This is, by the way, this is where that styrofoam, you saw how small that piece was that we added at the very beginning. This is where that styrofoam, even though it's a smaller piece, it's huge, because I can add anything to the center of this since we added that styrofoam in the middle. Kim said, I don't think, yeah, I'll bet you do. All right, hang on a second, guys. Ow. So we're just adding sporadic pieces of the raffia. Just to kind of make it a little more uniform throughout the design. And then we have our extra rolls. So again, it's more of a strategic thing. So if I need to add more on, if I need to fill in any place, like right here looks a little bare. I might actually add, I'm gonna show y'all. I want him to sit like that. Right in there would be great. And then last but not least, we're gonna add, so our bush from Walmart had pine cones already in it. So now we're going to add our homemade stem pine cones, and we're gonna integrate those in here as well. So I added one right next to him. We're gonna put one down here at the end by our pumpkin. So, whoops. So right here, and he may not be long enough to reach my styrofoam. So I'm just gonna give him a good wiggle, make sure that he's touching as many places as possible. So the balance now, we have one kind of on each end. They're not exactly apart. And then I have a little bit more coming out this side than I do this side. So I'm gonna use it on this side to help balance it. Kind of extend the visual field over here. And once again, give it a good couple of twists. I do not like the fact that I'm gonna lower my camera, you guys. I had raised it up for that last video and I didn't lower it again for us. So hold on. And now you can get a better view of how this is going to look from eye level, right? So I see a couple of more spots where I do want to add some more raffia. I like the evergreen, but I don't want it to shine so through. So you see that bright evergreen right there. So I'm gonna add some right in there. And this one is too green for me. I just want the green kind of peeking through. So I will add a few more sprigs, so to speak, of raffia. But is he not just the cutest thing ever? And his hat's supposed to be like that, so I can't help it. I can't help it. Oh, but he's not going anywhere. He is on there. He's secure. He's not going to fall off. So even if the grandkids knock him off grandma's table, he's not going to fall apart, right? So as always, I caution y'all to go back and do the pull test. Make sure that everything got secured really well as you were gluing. And of course, if you were sticking it in the styrofoam and gluing it, chances are it's not headed anywhere. So like I said, I'm gonna make about 1, 2, 3, 4 more sprigs of raffia, but they're on the other side of the table, and add those. But yeah, I think that turned out cute. And again, doesn't matter what angle you're looking at this. So if you put this as a centerpiece, it looks awesome from any angle. So, and y'all, it doesn't take a lot of tools. So that was, let's review the centerpiece base, which was just an evergreen base, our Hobby Lobby scarecrow, our pumpkin, which came from our store, our Walmart bush, a few extra fall leaves from Hobby Lobby, pine cones. We used 3 pine cones. We used some raffia, and of course the mesh in there as well. Not I think I get intimidated when I look at designs and I'm going, holy crap. But when you actually see them get put together, and you know, you can still add more embellishments too. So if you wanted to add some pomegranate to it, different colors, you know, that's your personal preference. So you can add as little or as much. My personal preference is less green, so I will be adding some more raffia. So, anywho, hopefully that inspired you or you learned something new, right? I love him. I think he looks cute. Yes. All right, guys. Well, thanks for hanging out. Hey, you guys have a great night, and we will see you